Hello, I'm Gavin. I'm got an orange jumper and blue jeans, and I'm 47, wishing I was 21. So I'm a filmmaker, theatre maker, and documentary maker from Cardiff. The first thing I'm going to show you is a little video.
When you're trying to survive and you're getting done by the bedroom tax, your benefits are all cut. It's really hard to focus on anything else other than living, other than just being and putting food on the table, not thinking, oh, I best buy organic, or I better not, I best walk to this place, or I best not throw away this plastic bag into the bin. Those things take a bit of a back foot because you've got so much other stuff going on your plate that how can you and when can you fit in those other things to think about them? Do you know what I mean?
To be honest with you, I don't think people from working class communities or even from like poor communities, working class communities, they don't really care about climate change, I think, because climate change is the middle class people like you alluded to who talk about it. They're the ones who've got time to think about the climate and what the weather's going to be like in so many years, and the polar bear is going to have somewhere to live in 20 years, where the working class community, they're actually thinking about how they're going to survive and what's their kids going to eat tomorrow. So they're thinking about the survival of their kind and their DNA, where the rich middle class are thinking about the survival of polar bears and the penguins, and they got the money to be comfortable, so they got time to ask other questions.
So those two clips are 5 years old. They're from a R&D I worked on called Who Gives a Fuck About Polar Bears, which was funded by Julie's Bicycle. In here you can hear Rhiannon talking about the bedroom tax, which was relevant at the time, but I think the sentiment is still relevant today. I'm from a place called Buttown. Used to be known as Tiger Bay in Cardiff. It's one of the oldest multicultural communities in the UK. It's a beautiful place full of beautiful people. About 10 years ago, 2 homeless provisions were built on the edge of the community. And I think probably 300 people sleep there every night. They're very vulnerable people and they need support, but as a consequence to the community, there's a steady stream of drug users coming into the community to buy drugs and then finding any corner shelter to inject heroin or smoke crack. So these photos are from the edge of a junior school taken by Father Dean. So there's literally every time you walk down the street, you see either people mashed up or needles on the floor. Why is this relevant today? Why is this relevant to today's discussion? Is because, like Ali spoke about, people from working class or economically challenged communities who are dealing with the day-to-day realities often don't have the luxury to think of the climate disaster. Of course, that's a sweeping statement, but my immediate battle is to get the council to pick up needles so my kids can play safely in the park or move on a user from my street. Despite this, my number one concern is the climate disaster, and I often feel paralyzed by the whole thing. If I was an engineer, I'd work in hydro, wind, or solar, but I'm a storyteller. So telling stories through theatre, film, or documentary is the only way that I can make changes I think that we need. And it's through stories that we get an understanding of the world, develop empathy, and imagine new possibilities. I've been searching for a climate story from a working class perspective for years, but it's difficult because when I leave my house, I'm not affected by the crisis. It's something that I know is coming, a dark cloud on the horizon, but my daily life is not affected, and neither is the people around me. Historically, climate stories are often told from academic or scientific perspectives, told by people who don't use my vernacular or look like my family, my neighbors, or my community. So I think it's difficult to connect to these stories. That changed slightly this summer, with the mad fires that raged across Europe, and people were worried about are their holidays going to be affected. So that had an obvious and immediate effect on people's lives. Will these fires stop me getting on the plane? This led me to witness another phenomenon, despite the fact that those who are less well off are going to be hit the hardest by the effects of climate in the UK. A lot of my friends and family genuinely believe that the crisis is man-made. WHO, WEF Plan, Agenda 21, the fires in Hawaii are caused by blue light or direct energy weapons, or geoengineering weather. The climate crisis is a hoax, a way to restrict our freedoms in the future, a man-made crisis to be exploited by the few to make millions. This is a whole other rabbit hole to go down, but I think there's a connection between people who are historically disenfranchised and these alternative views. But most worryingly for me, these kind of stories and narratives are the ones that seem to be taking hold. As a director who's come through in the last couple of years, making work that has environment at the heart of it, referring to the Green Book, is second nature, especially when it's championed by the company I'm working with, for example, National Theatre Wales. I don't really know any different. And if you consider the environment from the beginning, it doesn't feel too arduous, but of course there's more we can do. I'm making a show with National Theatre Wales at the moment, and from my point of view as a director, the process of adhering to the Theatre Green Book has been painless. I think it's important that most times my wants or my needs, or in reality my ego as a director, come second to making ethical choices. Just about to wrap up now. I finally came up with a working class climate story that's now in development. It is a fact that Cardiff is the 6th most at-risk city in the world from flooding, and Buttown is built by the docks, so it's going to be the first to go. My story is set in the near future, where a hurricane is about to hit the coast of South Wales and flooding is imminent. Anthony, the main character, is caught between moving his family to safety or saving his ganja crop, which, once it's sold, he'll be able to move his family out of danger for good. It's a working class story told from a working class perspective. And lastly, I'd like to end on a little note of hope. I remain hopeful for the future. We are storytellers, we are artists, and that's our superpower. And I genuinely believe that through stories, we can make change. Look at that. Really. Thank you.